Another one.
Bombed an SQL interview. I guess that should be bombed a SQL interview. Is it an or I guess I don't know. I'm gonna change it to A. I'm not sure. Is it an or A? Whatever. Grammar was not my strong point. Anyways, let's go with that. All right, so let's get to that question. So, bombed my interview, feeling awful. I just had my first ever technical SQL interview with a big commercial company in the US yesterday, and I absolutely bombed. I did a few mock interviews before I went into the interview, also solved top 50 SQL plus more intermediate/medium on Leet Code and HackerRank. I also have a personal project using Postgres SQL, hosting on AWS, and I write queries very often, and I thought I should be well prepared enough for an entry-level data analyst role. Mitch, does that sound like they're ready for a data analyst role? And God, the technical part of the interview was overwhelming. Like, first two questions are not bad, but my brain kind of froze and took me too long to write the query, which I can only blame myself. But from question number 3, questions have definitely gone way out of the territory that I'm familiar with. Some questions can't really be solved unless writing some very niche functions. And few questions were just very confusing without really saying what data they want. And the interview wasn't conducted on a coding interview platform. They kind of just show me the questions on the screen and asked me to write in a text editor. So I had no access to data and couldn't test my query. And it was 7 questions in 25 minutes. So I was overwhelmed. So yeah, I'm feeling horrible right now. I thought I was well prepared, and I ended up embarrassing myself. But in the same, I'm also perplexed by the interview format because all the mock interviews I did were using like a proper platform where it's an interactive, and I walk through my logic, and they would provide sample outputs or hints when I'm stuck. Oh, you were using a platform to help you cheat, huh? You were trying to cheat. I got you. And let's see. But for this interview, they just wanted me to finish writing up all the answers myself without any discussion. And the interviewer, a male probably in his 40s, didn't seem to understand the questions when I asked for clarification. And they didn't test my SQL knowledge at all, as well as explain delete versus truncate, what's third normalization, how to speed up data retrieval. Is this what I should expect for all future SQL interviews? Have I been practicing it the wrong way? Well, let's add that timer up. So here's the deal. There is so much that comes along with getting ready for interviews. It's not just going on Leet Code or HackerRank and doing some practice questions. There are a lot of platforms that you can use that will get you prepared for interviewing at a company. One thing I always do when I'm going to interview for whatever company, I look them up on LinkedIn. I look them up on Glassdoor. I look at what questions were asked in the interviews. I look at what the interview experience was for the different people who left comments. How many what was the main question that was asked? How many questions that were asked? What platform that they used. So a lot of these things that you're just finding out, you could have kind of avoided it by doing proper research. When I was looking up when I was getting ready to interview for my current company, I looked them up on YouTube to see who was interviewing there. I looked them up on LinkedIn. I looked them up on Glassdoor. I looked at who was interviewing me when, checked them out on LinkedIn as well. I did so much research for, and not just for this company, for every company. I went and stalked them on LinkedIn, see what they were talking about, what their background was like. I looked at like, okay, what's the interview format? All of that stuff. Ask the recruiter questions. So you were not prepared. You need to like when you see, when you see like my backgrounds and stuff like that, my thumbnails, and they're like very warm minded because I am at war every single day because I want to win. And that's why like I do research like a hawk. Your car. You remember when that guy came into the chat, into Anton's chat, begging for a coaching call and then being very, very disrespectful as well? We found out who he was in like 30 seconds. I mean, it did help that he put his full name in in the email. But we found out who he was in like 30 seconds. I'm like, okay, we know everything about you. But if people can do this much research so quickly for whatever other nonsense, right? Why aren't we doing the same level of intensity or more for the things that we need, the things that we want? So that's the part that like I don't understand sometimes. How come we don't prepare properly for the things that we say we want? We'll do how much time will it take you to order something on Amazon? Like you read through all the reviews, through all the positive reviews. Like I remember when I go looking for something on Amazon, I go to the reviews, right? And then I'll just click on the 1-star reviews and I see what everyone is saying about that. Then I go to the 2-star reviews, then I go to 3-star reviews, then I go to 4, and then I 5. I'm like, okay. I'm like, oh, you know what? Here's my assessment of this product. And am I going to take a chance on it or not? But I do all that research for some stupid product I'm buying on Amazon. But we don't do that same level of research when we're trying to get a job, when maybe it might be our first job. What gives? So some companies might ask you to explain particular stuff like delete and truncate. Some companies, they just want to see if you can do the work. Because you will be answering, and maybe delete or truncate is not important to them. Maybe it's not an entry level role you applied for. But a lot of times through the work, so like when I'm doing technical interviews, and we were reviewing a project that somebody did, I'm not really thinking more about like, okay, give me this particular detail about QA. I'm looking for, can you do the work? And can you articulate how you're doing the work? So, and I tell my tech barbarians this a lot. I'm like, please save the same thing I tell to the wealth building journey. I'm like, save the big fancy words. Let's just get to the point. So how do you do this? Just, just A, B, and C. That's it. All right, cool. Let's get to it. I'm not about like, okay, explain this, explain that. Can you show me the work? And maybe you need to up your SQL skills just a little bit. Now you know what you might expect on some interviews. Prepare for the worst. My motto is prepare for the worst, hope for the best. So if you are very well versed in SQL and you are ready to go, you're not nervous, you're not worried. Cool, great. And if you get that easy interview where they ask, okay, what's the difference between truncate and delete? Oh, it's this and that. Okay, cool. What's third-party normalization? Oh, cool. How do you speed up data? Oh, cool. But at least you are ready for the most complicated parts if they were to come your way. All right? All righty then. So let's wrap that one up with a bow on top.
If you enjoyed the fascinating information shared in this video and you want more, be sure to hit the subscribe button to Tech Coach Ralph to be notified for new videos.